I am by no means a professional sculptor, but as a professional environment artist, it happened that you have to sculpt some objects, and fast. So, I heard you want to be a 3D artist, but it requires money for school, software and skills? Now let me find you an alternative. In this video, I will show you everything to survive when you suddenly need to do a quick sculpt, and as it is studio oriented, we will use ZBrush, but fear not! There will be another tutorial on Blender for personal projects. Here are the topics I will be covering. I will try to make it beginner friendly while still showing some more advanced tools, but I'm warning you, it will go fast. So take a breath, here we go. To download ZBrush, go to Maxon website for a free trial or discounted student license. It's the price per year, so it's really reasonable compared to the Adobe Light subscription that the normal license will cost you. There is also the core version, which is a simplified version of ZBrush. Still a bit expensive, but hey, we try to learn here, and learning should be free, so you know what to do if you can afford it, right?
I have said nothing.
The first time opening ZBrush, the brush panel is on the left, the light box in the middle to access project, resources and quick saves, and a tool menu on the right with some important functionality. You can drag windows around with this wheel icon. I like to import model to an existing project. For that, double-click on a project in the light box, then import your model using the tool panel. I recommend using a graphic tablet, if possible even the cheapest one for more precision than your mouse. If you have a tablet, then you will have to go to Preferences, Tablet, and then Use Tablet. Zbrush Navigation is one of its kind to stay really polite. So for example, right-click Hold to rotate, Shift Hold right-click to snap rotate, Alt Hold right-click to pan, and releasing Alt while panning allow you to zoom. Is that complicated? I fucking hate it. To pick brushes, type B. As you can see, every brush have a hotkey to be as fast as possible. I mainly use clay build-up, standard, damp standard, trim adaptative, and the move brush, but experiment with them and you will find your liking. You can change the alpha and the stroke type of your brush here. For how simple use of ZBrush, just remember that freehand is okay for sculpting brushes and drag rect are for brush with stamp and pattern. I personally used a lot of important brush and some that I made myself, as it is saving me a lot of time. I can show you that if needed in another video. So for sculpting, just left click on the model. When the add is highlighted, it will add to the geometry. And if you hold Alt while sculpting, it subtracts from the geometry. Hold Shift allow you to smooth. Use S to resize your brush stroke. If it's still too big, it's a scale issue, and uncheck Dynamic here can fix that. The intensity of your brush can be tweaked here. Like in every software, you have a symmetry option, and for that you have to go in Transform and then enable symmetry. And one more important thing before starting sculpting, to save your scene you can do Ctrl+S, but what happens in the studio is it usually takes too much space to do that, so we export a Z tool instead by clicking here. You will not have your history saved by doing that, so be careful with it. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's have a look at sculpting workflows. It will be a bit more complex, but beginners, stick with me. You can do it with a bit of practice, you will see, and it's an intense video, a bit different than usual, so if you made it this far, how confusing is it? Is it clear enough? Please let me know what you think. There are multiple workflows, and you definitely don't have to stick with mine. As an environment artist, I'm either using ZBrush to create a model or to make displacement map, normal map of my model. When I'm creating a model, I don't want to think about UVs or topology, so I start from a cube and use Dynamesh. For that you go to Tool, Geometry, Dynamesh. For example, you are stretching your geometry with the Move tool, it's disgusting, but with a Ctrl left click drag in an empty space, it rebuilds the topology. You can add more or less topology by changing the resolution slider. Go little by little and only read Dynamesh when you are losing resolution on necessary details. I start building detail with the clay builder brush. First the low frequency with the big shapes that define my geometry. Then medium frequency details, Then finally, I finish with high frequency details like micro bumps, super tiny details. This is at this stage that I will start to use the brush that I gather from internet or the one that I made myself. And I do this exact same process for every object that composes my asset. And if you are making hard edges that aren't working with Dynamesh, check Project and play with the blur slider that will save your hard edges. With just that, you can make your final model. Only downside is it's making disgusting topology. I've got two solutions for you. Either you don't care about topology, and in this case, just go to the plugin Decimation Master. I am usually using the preset and that's it. 35K poly model with disgusting topology, but that will work for the project I am currently doing. If you care about topology though, then a quick way to solve your issue is using ZRemesher. So you go on the tool, geometry, here is your ZRemesher. Change the target polygon slider for the poly count you want. It's in 1000. Every time I always check adapt and keep groups with smooth group slider max out when using this tool. It can be a really quick and easy solution to remesh your project. Just so you know, you can also a proper topology by hand in another software, import it and reproject it, but I will cover that in another video as I think it's a bit too much for this one. Okay, so now the second case scenario. I want to do displacement map or normal map on my model. For this task, I'm starting from a low poly quad mesh with UVs, which I made in my favorite 3D software, whatever it is. You can also start from our previous method with the Dynamesh mesh. As long as you have a low topology mesh with UVs, you will be good for that. You can see in the tool panel, there is a subtool, and this is like your layers in Photoshop, for example. And as you can see, different objects are on different layers. You can hide and show your mesh with this icon, and for the rest we will see that in another video. You can press Ctrl D to subdivide your mesh. A tip here is to not go over 50 million polygons for one object. Above this value, the details you're adding are not worth the amount of hardware power needed to make and save your scene. Okay, I'm subdividing once and start blocking the shape with the clay builder brush. When I don't have enough resolution, I subdivide again and do the final touches with my imported custom brushes. When it's done, go to the plugin Multi-Map Exporter. I'm exporting displacement and normal maps. Click on the extra option. Here are the parameters I will always use for outputting my maps for Arnold and RenderMan render engine. The one thing you have to watch out though is the subdivision slider here. You want to select at which subdivision level you will create your map from. Like I said, I imported the base mesh from Maya, so that will be my base mesh at level 1. After a long wait, it exports the map as an EXR file. Okay, here is the last thing, I swear. If my base mesh at subdiv 1 changed a lot compared to the one I imported, I export it from ZBrush and it becomes the new base mesh for my project. Sure, that was intense, right? So let me know about the video, and I hope this helps you if ever you get thrown into sculpting an entire cliff in ZBrush with zero knowledge, like it happened to me when I started. And in any cases, do not worry. With hard work and dedication, you will find success in your passion, regardless of natural talent or expensive degrees. So stay motivated.